guys, Kevin Shaw here, Editor-in-Chief of Mopar Connection Magazine. We're here with Jim Hannon. Today we are at Tommy's Auto and Machine. We're here obviously in the dyno cell, and we're very excited to finally have our 440 for Marcia here up on the dyno. Now, you guys might have noticed there's quite a few things that are very, very different about this engine than the last time you saw it. Originally, this engine was just meant to be a very mild, iron-headed, a little warmer than stock 440. What we see here today is pretty much the prime example, the textbook example of mission creep. So many things had changed in the process. This was the second block that we had gone through. Our original block was cracked, had a freeze crack from one freeze plug to the other. So we had to find another block, and then we used a different crank, and then one thing just escalated after another. You guys might remember that we originally were trying to be at the original 4.320 bore, and we realized that wasn't going to happen, so we had to go 30 over, and now we're at 4.350. And we went with a oversized KB piston. With that, we are using the stock 3.375 stroke crank with the 6.676 LY rod, exactly, LY rod. So I had a little bit of a stumble there. So, appreciate it.
I'm trying to be useful.
No, perfect. You keep me in line. So there was that issue. We found that there was just a couple of the little things that happened with machining, and our goals of being a very basic stock stroke, stock bore 440 just didn't happen. So as a lot of you guys have already seen, we did end up going with a pretty stout hydraulic roller camshaft from Comp Cams. What they ground for us was a 541 intake and 537 at exhaust at 110 lobe separation. So this is going to be a little bit of a thumper, a little bit more rowdy. Being a hydraulic roller will kind of soften that, but we're not going to go anywhere near back to the what was stock, like a 474, I think.
Something in there.
Yeah, I think that was ballpark. A lot of you guys in the comments, feel free to correct us on that one. Yeah, we did end up with a ProForm distributor. It is their Mopar distributor that is licensed through Mopar. We are going to be doing a little bit of an intake shootout after we get this engine dialed in. We're currently running the standard Performer. This is the standard Performer 440 Edelbrock intake. It's their lower rise dual plane. We do have a Torker single plane, and we also have the RPM Performer, which is, in our estimate, one of the best intakes for both street and strip.
Very light.
Oh yeah. And of course, I think the biggest thing, besides our new Edelbrock VRS 750 that we have here, are the aluminum E-Street cylinder heads. These E-Street cylinder heads come in at a chamber of 75 cc's. It's a pretty tight, close chamber. That's going to bump us up quite a bit more than the stock 10 1/4 to 1 compression. I think we estimated out to just a hair under 11 to 1. We are running a tank full of 93 pump gas pulled from the shell right down the street. There's no craziness happening here. We are running a pump gas motor. So we are going to get this engine primed and fired up. We're just going to let it warm up, break in. We do have about 5.5 quarts of Valvoline VR1, and that tends to be one of our favorites for running these classic engines. It does have a lot of zinc in it. It does have a lot of additives that do replicate some of the older recipes. Now, Jim has been basically at Johnny on the spot when it comes to horsepower predictions. I don't think you've got one in mind for this one.
I think we're going to take a 500.
You think we'll hit 5? Okay.
I think we'll take a 500.
I think I'm gonna go conservative. I'm gonna go 4 3/4. I'll do 470, 480, and And I really don't think we're going to spin this thing up higher. Honestly, I think at 5,500 it's going to lay over.
It's probably going to be done.
Yeah, I think it'll lay over in the low 5,000s. I do think it'll lay over in the low 5,000s. But we'll see. Hey, I'm happy to be surprised. We do have a larger 850 in a box in case this engine wants more. I cannot imagine it would. But there is a lot of adjustment in the VRS carburetor. So we're going to hand it off to Frank. Frank's operating the dyno cell on the other side. And we are going to make sure that everything's copacetic and happy before we start making any sort of pulls. So we pretty much haven't touched anything about the carburetor. It's just set directly out of the box on the engine. So there's a lot of adjustment on the VRS. And once the engine's fired up, we'll start messing with how to properly tune the carburetor and what this engine really wants from it.
And 515. 515 pound-feet, dude.
That's a monster.
just a hair more, huh?
We're on the inside.
Okay. Did 466 and 518.
Hey guys, we've got a new set of carburetor tool hats. These are fantastic tools for a lot of you guys who are looking at getting the most performance out of your carburetors. These 3D printed American made carbon fiber infused hats are super durable. They're designed to take an absolute beating, being thrown across the shop, being beaten on, dropped, you name it, they'll absolutely take it. They've been 3D printed with the Mopar Connection logo on them, and they include this really neat separated top. They also have all these pockets for your tools. They even have little pockets here for smaller tools and for all your jets. These are designed to fit all traditional style carburetors and will even fit your factory Carter style carburetor. And even if you're running fuel injection, they make a good cover just in case you're working on the engine and you don't want anything falling inside. Of course, you can flip it right over and you can keep all your carburetor tools inside of it, your extra jets, everything you need, maybe even some extra gaskets, so that if you are doing a lot of work on your carburetor, this little guy will be everything you need to take along in the trunk of your car to keep you up and running. If you're interested in one of these, why don't you head over to moparconnectionmagazine.com/shop, where you can find one of these guys for sale, as well as our t-shirts.
We put the O2 sensor on, and what else did we do? Hey, 476 and 527, you lost a single pound and gained 8 horsepower?
That's because it's cooled down.
Oh, that's probably true. All right.
change a whole lot CFM wise.
Didn't like that at all.
Doesn't care for any of it. Didn't like any of it. Oh, that's funny. Unfortunately, we had a few hiccups this morning. Number one, just a few of our parts just were not willing to work. We had to replace our ProForm distributor with one that the shop had. We're gonna go home, we're gonna troubleshoot that distributor. Number two was that we were gonna run the long tube hooker headers on this. Unfortunately, because of the angled plugs on the E Street heads, the long tube hookers simply wouldn't let us run. So we went with the shop headers just so that we could make some runs. The shop headers were kind of a tight fit as well, but for what we're able to do today, we're working with the shop headers. We're gonna have to make a few modifications to the long tube headers. We want them to work with these heads, but we do have an opportunity to use those headers again with the straight angle plugs that are on the stealth heads that we have on Jim's 440. So in a follow-up video that we're gonna be doing here at Tommy's on Jim's 440, you can plan on us using those long tube hooker headers. So in our first setup with the Performer 440 manifold, we were able to have a really successful few runs where we garnered 476 horsepower and 537 pound-feet of torque. That's a big torque monster. We were not expecting to be making that kind of power. I guessed around 4 3/4, and turns out I made a pretty good guess. But for torque numbers, I was not expecting close to 540 pound-feet of torque. So that's really exciting, especially because we are moving a big C body. But as you can see, we've already moved up to the Performer RPM manifold. And our Performer RPM manifold, we were able to keep our pound-feet of torque very close. We were only down just a few. We were down to about 536, but we were up to 490 horsepower. So right now, this is the favorite. As long as the RPM Performer can fit underneath the stock hood, I'm running this setup as is in Marcia. Really
really exciting stuff. We are looking at a little bit of a lean situation that we're going to do some jetting on the carburetor. We also did tweak with the Advance. Our timing seems to really like it around 34 degrees. We tried 38, we were initially at 36, bumped up to 38, brought it back to 34, seem to be happy at 34 degrees. So we're going to keep it there for right now. If we find that it needs a little bit more, we might bump back up to 36.
Okay, so going from the RPM Performer to the Torker 2, this is our latest one, red.
The red is RPM Performance.
Oh, the red is the RPM Performer, and the black is the Torker. So we lost all that torque right there, and we even lost our mid-range horsepower. Gosh, okay. It didn't like any of it all the way across the board. Now,
Can you just drag it over the other screen?
okay, so we tried out the Torker 2. Turns out it just really didn't like it. We dropped down to about 477 horsepower and 526 pound-feet of torque. So we're wondering if we are running into a lean condition. So for fun, we're gonna throw on the VRS 850 and see if that is going to enrichen a little bit of our pull and see if we can't make a little bit more power. But for right now, it's looking like the RPM Performer and the 750 was the best combination that we had. taking the metering blocks out, and we are just gonna step down the jetting, lean it up a little bit. The 850 seems to be the happiest, gives us enough fuel through the whole curve, but we do have a little bit of a rich condition. So we think if we just lean it out a little bit, we'll be able to.
68's in the back.
We think we might be able to get closer, if not on the money, for 500 horsepower. And that's a fun number to have. So what'd you step it down to?
Mastermind did it over there. I'm just parts changer for him.
Okay.
He didn't tell me.
So we went from 68 to 66? All right. Did you guys cut down the studs?
No, we had
another set?
that were shorter,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, that's the ticket then. Short studs. Thankfully, the Edelbrock VRS does take all common Holley style jets, so there's nothing unique to them. Everything you can get at a speed shop or Summit, or what you typically have in your garage already. What's that?
I said I don't have enough power to strip them out.
Nope.
That's a good thing on a carburetor, right?
Right. That's actually perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
see how she do.
Frank, you want to run the fuel pump? I'll check for leaks.
Jiggity freaking dog, dude. Dude. 551 and 500. Holy crap.
Was it your fuel on that one with
13.7.
13.7?
With an average.
That's great. That's freaking great.
Hey guys, we're real excited to announce our new shirts for Mopar Connection, including our I Speak Mopar shirt with some of the most legendary names iconic to Mopar, like Panther Pink, Go Mango, and Pistol Shifters, and much, much more. And we also have something special for you small block guys. The new Order of the Small Block. This one has the timing rotation of the small block LA and Magnum motors listed there on the back. And we still have plenty of our What Does Mopar Mean to You shirt and our Order of the Big Block shirt. You guys can find these all at the Mopar Connection store at www.moparconnectionmagazine.com/shop.
About what? 8? Oh, 8 initial. Wow, that low. Okay. 8 degrees initial timing and 34 total.
Something, right?
That didn't change though, did it?
Yeah.
It did?
They picked up 5 horsepower from last year.
So after a full day of dyno testing, we actually made a total of 22 pulls on our 440 and really flogged the snot out of this poor thing. We got quite a bit of information here. A lot of dyno charts. We're going to put a lot of information up on the screen. But the big takeaway was the RPM performer with the 850 was the winner across the board. It just absolutely dominated. We were very, very surprised to find that this engine combination did not like the Torker 2 in any way, shape, or form. We were thinking about putting a big spacer on or maybe doing some other little tweaks, but that really wouldn't reflect how we would run it in the car. So it just seemed a little kind of unnecessary. But we were surprised with how well the Performer dual plane did, and it did so with the 750. It did all right with the 750 on the RPM Performer, but we were getting a little bit of a lean condition. So when we stepped up to the 850, we started getting more rich. So the plan, of course, was then to jet it down. We jetted it down from 88s to 86s. That cleaned us up a little bit, brought us more from, I think we were at 12.7 to our AFR being more favorable, about 13.5, and that was right where we wanted it to be. The big result, of course, is a absolutely impressive, unexpected 505 horsepower and 551 pound-feet of torque. This yet again means that Jim is, I keep thinking of Johnny Carson when he would hold the envelope. The great Carsoni.
The horsepower whisperer here.
Yeah, it's every time we take estimates, Jim is right on the money on that one. So I gotta quit doubting this guy. Really a 505 horsepower street motor, pump gas, pulled from the shell right down the street, nothing special, 93 octane, and it just loved it.
It did, it overperformed it.
And you'll see on a lot of the charts is, surprisingly enough, even making 505 horse at 5,600 RPM, it was still climbing a little bit. So could we have maybe brought it up to 58? Maybe, but I think we were pretty satisfied, especially considering we're running a cast crank, we're running stock rods. We weren't out to be a dyno queen. We really weren't trying to, you know, have an axe to grind or something to prove.
Yeah.
So 5,600 is right around where we pulled out on all of our polls. Had this been a little bit more of a high revving engine, had this been a Hemi motor or something to that effect, or a real lightweight set of pistons in a small block, then yeah, we could wring it out, but not for this guy. Really impressed with the results that we got, and I don't think any of that would really be possible were it not for the help that we got from our friends at Edelbrock. They came in a big way, obviously providing 3 different intake manifolds for us to play with. Obviously the 75cc E-Street heads were a big reason why. The hydraulic roller cam, roller lifters, and roller rockers really, I think, is the secret recipe for a good top end on this motor. And we want to say thanks to all the guys at Edelbrock for helping us out there. Big thanks to our friends at Summit Racing. They helped us through all the different iterations of piston combinations that we were planning out and trying to work out. And they were more than willing to take back the unused set of pistons that we didn't use. And we were able to get the Proform distributor. Earlier we had said the Proform distributor was not working. That was not the case. It simply was set all the way out, and they brought the magnet all the way in.
Magnet wasn't seeing any flags.
Yeah, and that was literally it. And so next time we recommend that you pull a cap, make sure that you that adjustment screw, you bring it all the way in, or obviously at the right gap. But that was literally on us. I think it was a matter of just hurry up and get the engine running. We're burning daylight here at the dyno. So again, this is a totally repeatable engine build. This is nothing really all that exotic. And everything that you see here, you can pretty much find at Summit Racing. And that is going to be probably the best thing for anyone who wants to replicate this build. We're going to put all the hyperlinks in the bottom in the description, so you can find all that there. Until then, thanks again for watching the video all the way through. We appreciate you guys subscribing to the channel. And if you want more awesome Mopar content, Mopar Connection Magazine is in fact a magazine. We are 100% online. You can find us at www.moparconnectionmagazine.com, where new articles are written and published every single day, Monday through Friday. We'll see you there.